Bam. Got it.
What is up, YouTube family? We are here.
We're here. We
Brevity
are here for
Sports.
you guys.
Boom.
Let's
Exclusive.
go.
Exclusive. And I got to tell you, exclusively on YouTube, we're tired of the hate. We're joining on the Pat McAfee bandwagon. We're tired of the Purdy hate. And let me tell you something. I'm not a Niner fan. It's slightly disgusting as a Rams fan to have to be the one defending this dude.
That's saying a lot, bro. Like, these guys
disgusting.
They're not friends, the Niners and the Rams.
Disgusting.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Finally, someone to come in to my guy's defense, because everyone else on that channel, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, they're delusional, bro.
Most of them can't even make up their mind. Like, who would have thought that we'd give Nick Wright credit for being as wrong as he is, consistently as wrong as he is?
Right.
He's never right. And especially about Brock Purdy. And yet at least he's consistent.
Yeah.
Right? You have Ryan Clark, who's just going back and forth faster. Dude, he flip-flops faster than politicians. I mean, it's crazy, this guy.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's a good one.
That's insane.
A great one.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. That's what you got to do, though, when you work at ESPN, right?
You got to do it. So that's our YouTube exclusive. See? So keep watching YouTube, because that will not be on the podcast. Up till right now, will not be on the podcast, because Bigsy right now is setting it up. Zach is setting up for us to start the podcast. But this is footage that they will never get.
Yeah. This is YouTube exclusive just for y'all.
Just for
y'all.
As my mother would say, the YouTube. Not YouTube. The YouTube.
The YouTube.
The YouTube. The YouTube. So, take that to the bank. We're going to get started with our podcast. Here we go. We're going to start playing our song. We'll do our thing. We'll get rolling.
That's right, baby. Let's do it. I got to record first. There it is. Let's go.
Yes. Love that song. I love it. I love it. I love it every time it comes on. Listen, we got a big episode coming for you. We are Brevity Sports. It's your boy Fredo, as always, joined by Zach. Say hi to the people, bro.
What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm pumped. My Niners won. Super excited. Super excited to talk about whatever happened in the sports world this week. It's a lot of stuff. So I'm excited to come at you guys. Dude, how you doing? You tired? You doing good?
I'm exhausted, dude. I'm tired. Man. I've had enough of theme parks for a while. I will say I went to Knott's Berry Farm today with some good buddies, and it was amazing. Today was chill. It was fantastic. It was. I'm tired, but it's like a good tired. It's a tired for just like a good day. You know what I mean?
That's good. You feel fulfilled.
Right. You couple that in with all the baseball going on. We've had we had multiple tryouts, multiple practices. Spring ball is getting underway. So when you have those couple things, I mean, it's going well, but when you look at, I'm just tired, man. I'm tired. How are you doing? How's your personal life? Don't let me be the downer. How are you doing?
Bro, you're not being downer, dude. To me, it sounded like you had a good day.
I had a great day.
Like you feel good. You feel fulfilled.
I am.
With your buddies at Knott's. But I'm good, man. This weekend, what did I do this weekend? Well, I took it on myself this year as a New Year's resolution to make Haley get out, do stuff with her friends. Cause she's at home with Oliver a lot while I'm working, of course. And I was like, you know what? You and I make time for each other. We do our thing, but you got to hang out with your friends too, girl.
Gotta make time for you. Gotta make time for you.
So on Sunday, I told her, I was like, go hang out with your friends. So she went out to Disneyland with her best friend. So that was sick. So I had some good Oliver Zach time, which is great. So, I had a good time there. It was fun. It's always fun because now Oliver is coming to the point where he really appreciates me and he just loves dad.
There it is.
And he misses me when I go to work. And so he knows when I'm there, he takes advantage of it, right? And so that's really, really awesome to me. So we had a great time. Haley had a great time coming home from Disneyland. She had fun. So that was a good Sunday. Saturday, of course, the Niners, dude, watching that game, sweating my butt off, pacing around. Had some friends over and watched that. So it was good, man. All around, it was a great weekend. Of course, can't complain. just living life, dude. Just living it day by day. It's great.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Man.
And I think that's another reason I'm so like theme parked out. Like recently I went to Disney. I don't know if I mentioned it before.
You did like a couple
on this
weeks ago.
podcast. Yes. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but it was like, dude, like the thing that I learned about Disney is you either need a pass so everything can be relaxing and you can just like see 4 or 5 things and it's really good, or you need to just go and accept that you're not going to see everything. But what you cannot do is go with somebody who needs to see all the things in a single day and then pair that with somebody who loves the things that they love and only wants to do the things that they love and is willing to do that no matter what else is going on. Like that combination of people, it just makes for a stressful day. Dude, by the end of the day, but what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't care. I don't let just put me in line. Tell me where to stand. Like it was the ultimate like dad moment. I was just like, just tell me where to stand and I will stand there and smile and crack dad jokes. But don't ask me where you want to go next. I don't know.
Good father.
I don't know where we had lunch. I know it was good and it was my favorite part because it was like the smash burgers and I don't even know what land it was in. Like it was not in Hollywood. It wasn't in Cars Land. I don't know the other lands, but I know it wasn't either of those and it was really good, but I have no idea. Like California Adventure to me is just sort of I don't even know. It's just a blob. Like it's like space. Like I don't know where anything is. I was there for 12 hours recently and I have no idea where anything is. At least
I love California Adventure, bro.
But I'm not saying it's not bad. I think
no, I know, but like that's like I know that park better than Disneyland. Because this is what I do. Like before Haley and I were married, we had passes, and so we would go out like on a Friday night, like after we're both super tired from work. We're like, let's go out 4 hours to Disneyland, DCA. Let's do the thing. So I was like, let's go to California Adventure first. Let's go get a IPA and just get that beer, sip on it, and just walk around the park. Just let loose. And then I'd always go on not California, but The Little Mermaid, bro. The Little Mermaid is one of my favorite rides. I'm going to admit it right here on the podcast. It's so relaxing. The AC is great because you've been walking around, you're sweaty and stuff. And then just like you can feel the AC from like 50 yards away from the building. And I love the songs. It's great, dude. I
need to do that right. I need to do that right,
bro. That's terrible. That's a crime. You have to do it, and especially after like an IPA or two. You're just happy. You have a
we did like I did shoulders that day, and I was doing like the Spider-Man thing where you're like slinging the webs, and I was like, I'm already burnt out from the workout that morning. But regardless, like it was just I think if I had a pass, it would have been so much more enjoyable. But the fact that it wasn't, Knott's was great today though. I'll say shout out to Knott's. Way less people, which they probably hate to hear, right? Their goal would be to be as busy as Disneyland.
That's not their goal, bro. You don't want to be like Disney.
There's too many people at Disney. There's just too many people.
There's a lot of people. I got Haley has a pass there. It's because I was like, you got like, if you're bored, like just because we live like 10 minutes away from it. So it's like $80 for a whole pass. Like there's no blackout dates or anything. So it's like, wow, for a whole year. So like I got a year and a half because like they had this deal last year. Like you get the rest of the year plus 2024 for $80. Is
that nuts? Like, that's nuts, right?
To nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Disney, that'd be like $2,000.
$6 million.
So yeah. So she has a pass and she loves it. She takes Oliver a lot. And yeah, man, I feel you, dude. There's no one there. Well, there's people there, but not nearly as many people as Disney. There's no waits for lines. Like you just do what you need to do. It's good food, good drink.
I will say I did lead my son completely. So there's a ride there called Hang Time. And you sit in the ride and like it stops you on the way down. And I totally did one of those dad moves that a lot of people are going to judge me for right now. And it's okay. I wanted Jaden to ride this ride. And I knew that Jaden would have a blast on this ride, but I also knew that he was going to be slightly terrified. So I knew that if I didn't somehow figure a way to trick him onto this ride, as also known as lying, then it wouldn't happen. So we're looking at the ride and I'm like, buddy, you already rode this. And he's like, no, I didn't, Dad. I'm like, buddy, I'm telling you, you already rode this thing. Let's just go get in line. You already rode it. Like, you're good. So we get in line and he's like, Dad, I don't remember this line. And I'm like, bud, you did this. You loved it. I'm telling you, you're going to have a blast. And he's like, I don't remember this one. I'm really nervous. And I'm like, but dude, you've done it. There's nothing to be nervous for. Look, you've done it.
Trust me.
And it's like he didn't have time to react because nobody was there. So it's like an 8-minute wait.
Right.
We're already at the front. And like, look at how secure those people are. Look at how secure they are. There's like a buckle and a thing. And he's like, yeah, I guess. So we get on a ride and like shambles, dude. As soon as we start going up, he like immediately starts to like tear up a little bit. I'm like, okay, here we go. But you know, he's only 10, right? And like dude, of all the people, I know there was nobody there, but there was no one younger than him anywhere near this thing. And I was like, oh no, I made a grave mistake. And we're going like straight up, right? And then we come over the top and you're sitting there and it holds you there. And he's looking at me and like we're holding hands. We're like, he's looking at me like, Dad, what have you got me into? Literally the drop happens. And 2 seconds later, he's like, yeah, Dad, put your hands up. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I was so right. I knew he would love this. So I was like, hands up. He had a blast. Like, Dad, let's do it again. And I was like, we don't have time to do it again because we're here with other people. And he was the only one of his friends that was willing to get on this thing. Nice. So we got to go meet up with the rest of the group. But he loved it. So I was totally right. Nice, so before anybody judges me, I was right. I'll tell you, who everybody's wrong about is Brock Purdy. So let's get into it. Let's start talking. We're not going to get into that one right now because we're going to save it a little bit. First things first, we're getting into the NFL. Okay.
As always, the NFL. As always.
Breaking news as of today. This is coming on Thursday. So this news just broke out yesterday. Harbaugh is headed to the Chargers. The Chargers, yeah, they may have done something right. Now, Big Z's mic is weird, but so you didn't see it unless you saw the YouTube. He clapped. It didn't at all. The sound did not come through. It still is not coming through. And he's still clapping. Yeah. It only picks up your voice. And so weird. That was really funny. But Harbaugh is on his way to the Chargers. Chargers actually did something right. So let's start right there.
They did something that they've never done before. This is the Chargers. Like historically, they have, they've built a roster, but they never bring in the right coach. They never bring in the right GM. They never bring in the right executives. Finally, they actually spent the money. They invested.
They did it.
The right coach. Like I'm very impressed by them. Like this is the one thing that we thought that they would never do.
Never.
Talking about Jim Harbaugh and the greatness that he is. Like we've talked about how good of a leader he is as a leader of men. And as a 49er fan, I have a very, very soft spot for Jim Harbaugh. So just this stat alone should excite any Charger fan. If any Charger fan is a listener of this podcast, I hope we gain more. We are an ally with you, Charger fan. So the 49ers, before they hired Jim Harbaugh, they were 46-82. They missed the previous 8 playoffs. Or in the previous 8 seasons, they made it to playoffs. When they hired Jim Harbaugh, he led them to 3 straight NFC championship games and a Super Bowl in 3 seasons. Like that's the impact of Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh turned the trajectory of Alex Smith's career around from a bust to this guy's actually a really good quarterback. He just needed the right coach. And that's who Jim Harbaugh is. So I'm very excited for Justin Herbert and what he's going to be able to do with Harbaugh, because Harbaugh used to be a quarterback for Michigan. So he knows exactly what Herbert's going to go through and what he is going through. And he's able to build a defense as well. That's what makes him special. He has an eye for the offense and also the defense. And he'll bring in the right people. If he has a weak spot, he's going to bring the right people. So this is the first step that the Chargers had to make to be successful in this league and to actually have that roster be what they're supposed to be. So I'm pumped for them. I'm pumped for him. He has unfinished business in the NFL. He wants to win a Super Bowl.
All you need to know about this guy is that he went to San Diego State. He turned them into winners. He went to Stanford. He turned them into winners. Stanford hasn't been anything since, period.
Nope.
He went to the Niners. He turned them into winners, and Shanahan has done a great job since him. Fantastic. Great hire. Good job, Niners. Way to keep it going. Went to Michigan, the team that just could not get over the hump. He turned them into winners. So now he's coming to the Chargers, and let's not pretend like the Chargers don't have a roster. Justin Herbert, to me, hands down, is still an elite quarterback in this league with the arm talent, with the numbers, with the yards. He's got all the bags. He's got all the tricks. They just need a leader. They need somebody to unite this team with all the talent that's on there. They still got Keenan Allen. They still got Eckler as of right now. They have all the weapons they need. Bosa on defense, along with Khalil Mack. Like, they still have quite a few weapons that can make this team valid. They can make a run. Every year you hear the Chargers are supposed to be that team that have the roster to make the playoff push, and every year they don't. Harbaugh is the kind of guy that can come in and get that dubs done. So well done. Well done to the Chargers. Way to do it. I'm a Rams fan again, but this is a good move for you. Great job.
If you want to make an impact in Los Angeles, because ever since they moved to Los Angeles, they've been the laughing stock of Los Angeles.
Hands down.
To go back to San Diego.
Yeah.
This is a move that makes you relevant in Los Angeles. So great move for the Chargers ownership group. It's like, okay, like we can't bash them for this. So good for them, man.
There's nothing bad we can say about it, which is possibly the biggest praise we can give you because we love to throw shots. We love to throw shade.
Love to throw shots.
It is amazing. Speaking of throwing shade, the Ravens threw shade at the entire NFL world that thought that the Texans were going to go into Baltimore and get a W. This thing was not close, right? For the first half, it looked close. And I remember Big Z texted me at the half and he goes, hey, this is closer than I expected. I was like, honestly, just from watching the game, I was like, it's either rust or the Ravens haven't opened up their playbook. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. John comes out and says, look, we wanted to start off slow. We had not played for a week. We wanted to just get in rhythm. And then we opened up the playbook in the second half and you saw the result. I mean, look, all credit to the Texans. Okay. If you're a Texans fan, you cannot be upset with this result.
No, not at all.
No part of you should be down on yourself. You did it. You exceeded expectation by every conceivable margin. No one thought that the Texans, who are the worst of the worst last year, would be anywhere near the playoffs. You have your quarterback of the future. You have receivers of the future. You might need a running back depending on the situation that's going on with Pierce. I don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Last year, he looked like he could be the guy. This year, he had nothing to do. It clearly went to Singletary. He was the dog. So you may need to figure that situation out. Yep. But you really feel like, man, if I can get maybe another really good old lineman, couple defensive pieces, we are really going to be in business. They got a great coach. So the future is bright. But man, how on God's green earth do you stop Lamar? I mean, he looked fantastic.
A shout out to Lamar. Coming into the game, he had I think it was 1-3 record in the playoffs. That was Lamar. The dude can run, but can he pass in the pocket?
Yeah.
And so today or Saturday, he showed that he could do that.
Right.
And shout out to him. Like he did have 100 rushing yards on 11 carries, 2 touchdowns. So that was a big part of the offense. But when he had to do it, when he had to find his guys in the passing game, he did it.
Right.
And so shout out to him. Should have looked like, and they did it. So they're moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. They looked fantastic. They looked great. I'm happy for them. They're going to keep rolling. That's going to be one heck of a game, which we'll get into once we make our picks. So stay tuned for the episode to the end of the episode for that. We always make our picks. Do not use those to bet. We cannot say that enough because if we're wrong, that's your money.
Yeah, because if you bet on this week on my picks, like you probably would have lost something.
But you would have won for me, except for the one. Yeah. Oh boy!
Well, last week, no, just don't use our bets.
Just don't use our bets.
Just don't use our pits for bets.
The Niners, okay.
The Niners scared me.
The Niners, but they capitalized on
they won.
They capitalized on a missed opportunity. You see what I did there? Mm-hmm. Missed opportunity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there it is. Well, they capitalized regardless. And look. I cannot remember the last time that a playoff team won a game and had this much shade thrown at them. It's the Niners defense is real. Let's start right there. The Niners defense, they are fantastic. CMC is fantastic, but I do not understand the shade that is coming your way. So Big Z, I'm going to leave that in your lap because you're a Niner fan. So talk to me about how you feel about this win and sort of like everything you're hearing. Like I'm very curious. Like what? Like as I was watching this, like, dude, I wonder how my boy Big Z is doing because he's a big Niner fan. Like, what is he thinking through all this?
I mean, it was frustrating to be honest. It's like I expected Purdy to come out and just throw dimes like he'd been all season, but he struggled. Like I'm going to admit, like he struggled for 3 quarters of that game. But on the flip side, he brought them back.
Yeah.
He made passes to guys that was very Purdy-esque. And we've talked about it all season. that he hasn't been respected. Like if you actually watch the film, the guy is doing great things. He is playing great quarterbacking, great football. And a lot of guys, a lot of people like to say, oh, he's using McCaffrey. He's using Debo. He's using this guy and that superstar. On that last play,
he
utilized Chris Conley. Who is that? Oh, a fifth string wide receiver. He utilized Jawan Jennings. Oh, who is that? The fourth string wide receiver. So he's not just dinking and dunking to guys like Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel. Oh, by the way, Debo Samuel got hurt on the first drive of the game. This is the thing that bugs me, is that with Brock Purdy, everyone all year, oh, he has a great cast around him. What can he do without them? So can Purdy win a game when it's raining?
Right.
Can Purdy win a game when Debo's out? Can Purdy win a game when the other team's doing really well and he has a rough game, but can he bring them back at the end of the game when they're trailing by 7+ points in the fourth quarter?
Right.
That was it. That was a rhetoric all season long. And he checked all of those boxes last game. And now all of a sudden we move the goalposts and say that doesn't count for some reason. I've never heard so much hate for a team that actually won a playoff game and so much love for a team that lost. Love for Jordan Love. After that game, and this is no shade to Jordan Love. Jordan Love is definitely the quarterback of the future for the Packers. But everyone was talking about how he had such an amazing game and that he should be throned or be crowned this amazing superstar. And Purdy he's weak. He's the weakest link for the 49ers. I've never heard so much hate for a team that actually won a playoff game. The playoffs are tough.
Right.
Like, both guys, 11 on 11, all those guys are giving it their all.
Right.
And the Packers are way better than the number 7 seed. Like, that team came to it on fire. They beat the crap out of the Cowboys, and they came in wanting to beat the crap out of the 49ers. So I don't understand. Like, you would think that the Niners lost that game and that the Packers won that game by the way the media has been reacting. Like,
100%.
This is the media, dude. Like, you, in order to keep your job with ESPN and Fox Sports 1, you have to give stupid hot takes like this. But when you actually look into it all week, the guys on NFL Network who are former NFL players, besides Ryan Clark, who works for ESPN, he's a former NFL player.
Right.
Besides him, all the other NFL players are saying, yeah, this guy's legit. Like, why is this? Why is the hate here? And so it's annoying to me. But I'm glad they won. He did everything that everyone told him that he needed to do to be considered a top quarterback in this league. He did it. And so we're going to continue to do it against the Lions.
Look, here's the biggest thing for me is Jordan Love had a great game last week. He had a great game, quote unquote, this week. But I've seen him hit wide open receivers. Whatever. Again, I want to give credit where credit is due, and I want to make sure we're doing that. Matt LaFleur, to me, I mentioned on the podcast last week, it is time to start considering this guy as elite. Yeah. It is time to start really taking into account. Jordan Love was hitting receivers who had no one around them against a very good Niners defense who does not blow coverages. They did it against the Cowboys, and now they did it against the Niners. And I'm not saying that is a shot at Jordan Love. Good job. He hit the guys he needed to hit. But the idea that he was hitting these tight windows, listen, again, neither of us is saying that Brock Purdy had his best game, but Jordan Love's QBR was 44.6. Okay. Brock Purdy's was 61.9. Neither of those marks is great. I'm not sitting here and telling you that, oh, yeah, each of these guys had a phenomenal game. Either of these guys had a phenomenal game. They didn't. Okay. My point is that Jordan gets a love for going 194 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And Brock Purdy gets no love for going 252 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And everybody looks to the point, oh, well, if the Green Bay catches that ball that hit that guy in the hands, every quarterback has those moments in games. All these young quarterbacks have these moments in games.
You're picking and choosing there, though.
Right. Like, again, all I know about Brock Purdy is that this is his second year. He's been a starting quarterback for 2 years, and it's his second year in the NFC Championship when the game came down to the wire. After George Kittle, his main weapon, nobody just says, just throw the ball to George Kittle. He's one of your weapons. You're surrounded by weapons. After George Kittle has one of the most egregious drops I've seen that could rattle a young young quarterback. He hits Ayuk over the middle in one of those clutch throws of all time. And yet the same people who are shooting shots at Brock Purdy right now were praising Jared Goff for making a lesser throw last week against the Rams to solidify the game. This was a much more difficult throw with much better coverage. And I'm a Rams fan. Like, I'm not enjoying saying that Green Bay's defense was covering that play better than we did, but they did. And he fit it into a window. Along with what you said, he hit like 6 different receivers. And those who are sitting here at home thinking, oh, he's doing checkdowns, that's been disproven.
They're not checkdowns.
It's been disproven. That is a stat, right? That is a stat. We had a conversation earlier this week, like, oh, all you guys cares about stats. No, but when you talk about a stat that is actually being kept track of, yes, I'm going to use the stat that you're actually using that is kept track of to prove you wrong. But besides that, I just want to say this real quick. Everybody else, because the biggest hate they get is, well, Christian McCaffrey. Aaron Jones accounted for 35% of Green Bay's offense. Christian McCaffrey contributed for 36% of the Niners' offense. So again, you're moving the goalpost. There's 1% difference. There's 1%. Aaron Jones, unquestionably to me, is the reason why the Packers handled the Cowboys so handedly last week. And I said that before this week, just so anybody thinks, oh, we
just talked about that.
Right, exactly.
Aaron Jones is healthy. That's it.
This is what, and I said, Aaron Jones needed to be big. He was big, and they won, and he continued it. He was big in this game. So if you think I'm being inconsistent, that is not true. I said that already. He had a big week this week. Him and Christian McCaffrey both balled. I'm not taking anything away from CMC. But again, the idea that that the Niners are only winning because of CMC and the weapons they have around them is just not true. The Panthers had DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, great tight ends, great offensive linemen, great defense, and the Panthers could not get it done. They never wanted this clip with a quarterback who is calling Brock Purdy a game manager. He couldn't get it done, Cam. Cam, you couldn't get it done. And you had the same weapon in Christian McCaffrey, because last year, no one was talking about the Niners like this, right? The big difference in this offense is who? Christian McCaffrey. That is what I'm being told. That is what I hear over and over and over. Christian McCaffrey. Well, Jimmy G never had Christian McCaffrey. Well, if they had if Patrick Mahomes had Christian McCaffrey, if Josh Allen had a Christian McCaffrey is like this. All of a sudden he is this elite, but Brock Purdy doesn't raise his game. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because Christian McCaffrey was not in contention for NFC championships over and over and over with the Panthers, AFC, whatever it is. Look, he was not in contention every year. Brock Purdy in Shanahan's offense is elevating those around him. I don't care what anybody has to say. Multiple of his receivers, including George Kittle and Debo and Ayuk, have had 1,000-yard seasons. You don't do that without a decent quarterback who's running a system optimally. And for the fact that of a guy like even Cam Newton takes shots, dude, this guy is already showing you that he is special.
He has more playoff wins than you, bro.
You're right. He already has more playoffs wins than you. And if you do it during the regular season again, at some point, it's going to come down to what did you do in the postseason, right? Exactly. To be in the conversation with the greats, you got to get those wins. And that's what Brock Purdy is chasing right now. But the idea that we already know that he's a bust, or that he's lack of talent, that he's a lack of talent.
He's a bust, though.
You can't.
If anyone tries to say that, or the people saying, "Oh, he just checks down," and then I'm like, "Well, no, actually, he doesn't." Like,
or that he's a weak link.
He's not a weak link. And don't tell me he hasn't elevated people's games. Who was Brandon Ayuk before this season?
Right.
Most people didn't know who Brandon Ayuk was. And we were talking about George Kittle, that he was regressing before this season. Like, I have had multiple conversations with people about George Kittle being in regression, especially when you talk about fantasy. He was not supposed to be who he was this year. And CMC, you talk about him, this was his best season this year. Why? Because of Brock Purdy. That's 100% facts. So it is what it is. We'll just leave it at there. At this point, if you're like, anyone who's hating on Brock Purdy is just doing it to hate on Brock Purdy. Like, now you put yourself in, like, you are a high school, like, just part of that drama in high school. Just like, oh, I just don't like you because I just don't want to like you. Like, I don't actually want to look at who you are and how great you are.
Right.
And we're not saying that he's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
No, or Patrick Mahomes.
But he deserves to be up there, at least quarterback 5 to 7 in this league. He has to be. You have to at least have him in that conversation.
We just read the stat that was a separation. He threw for 250 yards with no interceptions.
Right.
And that is better than that's better than Jordan Love did. Jordan Love threw 2 interceptions, whether you like it or not. It's better than Jordan Love did. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I'm not saying that this guy is the elite of the elite. Somewhere around probably 5 to 7 best in the league because of his abilities. But again, the kid is still learning.
He's 24 years old. It's his second season.
If you based everything off somebody's first season, Peyton Manning was awful. Well, look, Peyton Manning was not good.
Patrick Mahomes he was behind Alex Smith his first season. In his second season, he lost in the AFC Championship game to Tom Brady. Do we judge him then? Do we judge Josh Allen for his first couple seasons? Do we judge Lamar
Including
Jackson?
now. Josh Allen still hasn't gotten past it.
Apparently not. We don't judge those guys.
Josh Allen is yet to be in a Super Bowl.
And what happened to the underdog story? Don't we love the underdog story? I don't understand it, but let's just leave it at that.
We're going to leave it right there. We're going to get into their matchup soon, but I'm just not here for it. Stats don't support you. He's doing what he needs to do to win. That's all I care about. I'm not going to sit here and argue what he is because I don't know. This is his second year in the NFL. So if you're hearing this, like I'm going to come at these guys because he's not that good. We don't know how good he is. It is his second year, but he's doing enough to keep a starting job. I'll tell you that. And a lot of teams wish they had a guy who could get them to the NFC Championship. Moving right along, the Lions take down the Bucks. I was wrong. Big Z was right, but gosh, it was a good game.
It was a great game.
It was a really good game. Goff looked fantastic. It's exciting to see that he's taking care, making the most of his opportunities. Right. Baker was baking. He did great right up until that last interception. Again, that you cannot. To me, I love the way Baker played, but you cannot throw a pick, man. You got to go for it. Make it a 4-and-out, make it a bad throw, make it whatever, but you just cannot give up a pick there. That was it. Obviously, it ended their season. So, I'm not giving them a pass. Consistency. If I'm calling out Jordan Love for throwing 2 interceptions, I'm calling out Baker Mayfield for the biggest interception of the day to end the game. That was what iced the season. You got to be smarter. You got to be better. Just if worse comes to worse, just go, especially with the time left on the clock. Yeah. Go to the sidelines. Right. Go to the sidelines.
Throw it away.
You can't force it. Give what they're giving you. Right. How many times have we seen a Patty Mahomes, for instance, like we just did, dinking and dunking down the field to the sidelines and just taking what's given to him? I mean, you just cannot give up the ball there. It's just a bummer. And I will say this. I have no idea the mindset of not going for like a 4th and 2 at the 40-yard line, right, but then going for a 2-point conversion when you're down 2 touchdowns.
That was so
like balls.
Silly.
Like, what are you doing?
In our group chat, we had people defending that, and I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, you want to be down 7 here,
right?
You need to go for the extra point."
And I put the reason that they gave us because on the broadcast, I forgot who was broadcasting, but they were like, "Oh yeah, the reason you do this is like mathematically." You don't lose anything. You got an opportunity to win it. But no.
As we know in baseball, as Dodger fans, we know analytics go out the window in the playoffs. Take your points.
Take the points.
And we were talking about it. Go for 3.
The points.
Go for the field goals. We talked about the whole, you and I were texting back and forth. Well, I'm surprised Dan Campbell actually did that, but he did the smart thing. And so.
And they won because of it. They won because of it.
And they won. Yeah,
Take the points. Take the points.
Take the points. Don't play what the numbers say, because if the analytics say on 4th and 3 at the 50-yard line, you should go for it. It doesn't matter who's behind. The analytics, the computer is just computing, 4th and 3 at the 50-yard line. In this situation, go for it. It doesn't matter who's behind.
Right.
Who's the one taking the ball, right? Who's taking the snap. So that's what, to me, no, that's where the human element comes into play. Like, you need to actually think what you're doing, here, don't go by what the computer is saying. So the Lions won because they were smarter. They played a really good game. Jared Goff, 30 of 43, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Right.
He played a really good game, utilized his weapons. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta had a great game, 9 receptions.
Guy's
and Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 carries on 74 yards, is so elusive in the backfield and can just make space out of nothing.
Right.
They're a good team, man. And I'm worried about stopping Gibbs on Sunday as a Niner fan. This team is really good, and they figured out a formula that actually works for them. And again, obviously, I want the Niners to win, of course, but I am so happy for Dan Campbell and the Lions, because when Dan Campbell was hired and he came out with that interview about, oh, we're going to bite kneecaps, how many people got on him? There's so many people that got him. This guy is a terrible coach. He doesn't know, blah, 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 blah. He's just too rah, 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 rah. And look at what he's done, dude. And I'm going to say it again. We've said it so many times, but he's changed that culture. He's made them a winning football team.
Yep.
Because he is a leader. And I love it. I'm so happy for them. I'm happy for Jared Goff, too, because up until this year, we've just heard that Jared Goff is a bust. And all of a sudden, which is, good for him, he's a superstar quarterback in this league. But I am happy for him because, that he's a great player. He really is. So it's a good story for sure. It's going to come to an end this Sunday against the Niners, but I'm happy for them. I'm really happy for them and their fans.
I'm equally as happy for Dan Campbell. I know there was comments made, JaVale McGee did not like the hire back in the day. She's eating her words. There's a lot of people who are eating their words, but at the end of the day, you really, at some point, you start to look at a guy like Jared Goff. And for me as a Rams fan, I never thought he was a bust only because Jeff Fisher was the coach. And so, when their offense was bad, they're sputtering, he got the Rams to a Super Bowl. So I don't know that I'd ever call him a bust. For me as a Rams fan, I did not think, and I do not think he is that dude to get you over the hump. Like I thought we don't win the Super Bowl that we won without Matt Stafford. I stand by that. I will say for him, to his credit, this is an opportunity right now to get Dan Campbell's back in the same way that Dan Campbell's gotten his back. Because everybody knows he's good at home. Okay. Everybody thinks like, oh, Jared Goff, he finally found, like, have you not watched the Lions at home? The Lions are really, really good at home. Yeah, Jared Goff is really, really good at home. He's always been that way. And so this is Jared Goff's opportunity. Not that he's not good anywhere else. Like he's had some great road games here and there, but this is really his opportunity to step up, go into a place like San Francisco against a very good Niner team and get a W. This is an opportunity for him to get everybody else's back. All these fans standing up saying, Jared Goff is our guy. They're chanting Jared Goff. They're chanting Jared Goff. Dan Campbell, you're a good enough quarterback for us. This is Jared Goff's moment right now. He had a great first round game. He had a great second round game. Fantastic. I'm not taking anything away from the guy. He's doing great. And this is another great opportunity for him to put up and show that he is that dude, that he can go into a hostile environment and get a W in the playoffs. Patty Mahomes, for those people who might think I'm sounding like I'm unfair, Pat Mahomes, who's shown way more than Jared Goff ever has, it had the same thing going against him last week. People were talking about, well, time to find out if Patrick Mahomes can win on the road. We don't know. In a hostile environment in Buffalo against Bills Mafia. What did he do? We're about to get into it. He balled, right? So this is a great moment for Jared Goff to get to that elite level, to show the people of Detroit, look, I can win anywhere, anytime. I believe in this team. You believed in me. I believe in you. This is how we get it done. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to do it, but it's a great opportunity for him. The Chiefs still living rent-free in the Bills Mafia head. Dude, let me just say this. When I took the Chiefs, first and foremost, it was because I needed to catch a game on you, right? That's first and foremost. Yeah, but second, the thing that made it okay for me, Patty Mahomes. Yep. Patty Mahomes, dude. Yep. Patty Mahomes. Listen, at this point to me, and I know it's really early in his career, I know it's really early. I know it. And I know there's some Montana guys that are going to be like, you're absolutely crazy. You're insane. But I think when it's all said and done, to me, it's already there. You got Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes in a league of their own, and then everybody else. It's like these dudes, look at what the way the Bills played the last possession. Slow and conservative, and we're not going to do anything crazy. Diggs obviously had a massive drop at some point during the game. I don't think it was last drive, but they were really focused on. You knew when you're facing a Tom Brady, when you're facing a Patrick Mahomes, you cannot give them the ball. You can't give them the ball.
They knew,
and they change in the same way that a defensive end is like you're game planning for him. Like this guy's a game wrecker. We got to make sure he doesn't wreck the game. That's what you do against these guys. And to me, Patrick Mahomes, it just every freaking year, you look at this team. I mean, come on. There's no way that Patrick Mahomes just went in with Scantlin and Rashee Rice and a Travis Kelce who has not looked at himself this entire year and got the W. And that's in no way, shape, or form trying to take anything away from their running game because it's been absolutely fantastic, electric. But Patrick Mahomes is the piece. He is the cog that makes everything tick in that team. Without Patrick Mahomes, I don't know where this team is. They're certainly not going into Buffalo and getting the W. But, right. I mean, they looked absolutely fantastic with Patrick Mahomes behind the helm. Allen did come up short. I thought he had a great game. Kelce turned back the clock. Yeah. Diggs, I think it's probably time for him to move on.
Yeah, something's off with Diggs, man. Like the last 7 weeks, it's been a struggle. Like he's yeah. It's been tough. I mean, I want to give a shout out to something that we usually don't with the Chiefs, and it's their defense. Chris Jones, you're talking about DNs, talking about game planning for them. That last drive where the Bills, they definitely turned it into a conservative drive. Yeah. Like, I don't want to give this guy the ball back. We've been here before. When we give him the ball back, he beats us no matter what the score is.
Yeah.
There was a play where Allen went deep. He was like a 35-yard pass to Shakir in the end zone, and it was about 3 feet short of Shakir. Like, it was right there. Like, Shakir was open, but on where Allen was, Chris Jones actually got through the offensive line and he hit Josh Allen's plant leg. He didn't sack him, but he hit his plant leg, and that's why that pass was 3 yards short. And I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes had a great game, 100%. But I want to give credit where credit's due as well. Like, that was an amazing play by Chris Jones. We don't ever talk about Chris Jones. We never talked about him. And the fact that they were able to bring him back, I know there was a big contract dispute at the beginning of the year. They were able to bring him back on a 1-year deal and say, you're the dude, we'll give you the money, fine, whatever. Like, let's compromise. That's why they gave him the money. That's exactly why. Because he shows up in the playoffs. And so good for him. Patrick Mahomes had a great game. He's like, you know what, Kelce, like, let's do our thing.
Yeah.
Like, let's turn back the clock. You're the guy. He got 2 touchdowns. And on the other side of it, I do want to shout out Josh Allen.
Huge.
He is getting a lot of hate this week. Like, he can't do it. Blah, 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 blah.
Great game.
It's like, the dude had 3 touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. His 1 passing touchdown to Shakir was like one of the greatest passes of like the last 10 years I've ever seen. It was so good. His team let him down. The rest of his team let him down. Stephon Diggs, you're talking about, like, he's been complaining for the last 2 years about his quarterback. Stephon Diggs let Josh Allen down on Sunday. That is 100% fact. The ball hit him in his hands. It was a 60-yard bomb. It would have been a touchdown. It was a great 100% catchable catch, and he dropped it. And so
through his hands.
And Josh Allen did everything he could. Like, that is not on Josh Allen. And it's like, and it's the Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady thing. It's like, so many times Peyton Manning went up against Tom Brady in his prime and he lost because Tom Brady was just better. Like, it was the Jazz versus Michael Jordan. Like, the Jazz were a great team, but they just ran into Michael Jordan. Charles Barkley versus Michael Jordan, the same exact thing. Yeah. And so people get on Josh Allen's like, oh yeah, we should talk about him as being a bust and not being a good quarterback. This dude is great. Like, you need to, like, the Bills and Bills Mafia, I know that they love him,
right?
But like, the rest of the league, like, don't jump on this guy. Like, he did everything that he needed to do.
Just real quick, let me just slide this in there.
Please.
The dude throws for 186 yards. Right. If Stephon Diggs catches that 60-yard bomb, we're sitting here talking about 246 yards. Right. Okay, which is a great day with the touchdown and another touchdown. So there's 2 touchdowns. And then he leads the team in rushing with 72 yards and another 2 touchdowns. So he would have counted for 4 touchdowns. If Josh Allen isn't on the field, this game isn't even close.
Right.
And the Bills are not even in the playoffs. Yeah. We said this before. We say it again. If Josh Allen is not the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, it's not even close, folks.
Not even close.
He is the catalyst of this team. Right. He is the dog. Josh, you got nothing to hang your head about. And just his leadership. What did he do after the game? Went and found his field goal kicker.
Exactly.
Put his arm around him, walked him through the tunnel.
Tough.
I mean, that is leadership. That is the kind of guy
Yeah, exactly.
That's the kind of guy you want. And with a guy like Shakir, I can't say his name. Shakir, who seems to be balling. You know, maybe they go get a Higgins. I don't know. Maybe they'll get one other piece. If they do lose Diggs, they're going to be just fine. James Cook did look fantastic, especially once they started utilizing him properly. Right. I think they do have a team. Yeah, I do think they have to figure out on the flip side of Chris Jones. I mean, Von Miller's had an atrocious year. I mean, they're paying the guy $14 million. He didn't record a single sack all season.
He was injured. He was injured. They had a lot of injuries on defense, and there's no excuse for it. But like you could see it. Like Kelce was his second touchdown of the game. There was no one within 30 yards of him. Like it was, it was just like blown coverage. And credit to Mahomes for finding him. Like again, that's not a shot at Mahomes or Kelce. Like that's good quarterbacking. Like we're not saying that. And so, but yeah, their defense was definitely hurt. And they probably had worse injuries than the Dolphins on their defensive side.
100%.
But Josh Allen, like
still powering through.
This is his team. Like this is his franchise. And we know the Bills know that. Like they're not going to let him go. Like this is a great player. Without him, they're 6-11, not 11-6.
100%. 100%. Big time. We will make our picks in just a moment. Before we get there, some honorable mentions. We got to talk about it. Okay. First and foremost, just news. Some fun news from around the sports. Okay. This is like not just NFL. This is all over. This is going everywhere a little bit. First thing, I mean, this is the NFL, but it's kind of not the NFL. Cowboys got some mama drama. Okay,
gosh, bro,
they're already out of the playoffs.
Is crazy, dude.
It's getting worse. It's getting worse. CeeDee Lamb's mom. You heard that right. CeeDee Lamb's mom puts him on blast. Puts Dak Prescott on blast. You're not getting my cookies. You're not getting my homemade cookies this year. You're getting nothing. You're not on my mailer. She doesn't like the guy. She thinks he ain't it. He ain't it. If only they had a real quarterback like the Texans. She went in. She even compared him to other guys. I mean, it's crazy. Or she responded to somebody who compared him to other guys. It's wild. And the best part is, it wasn't even Dak who responded, which I don't know what Dak is supposed to say back. Like, maybe call CeeDee Lamb, be like, dude, your mom is calling me out. Can we figure this out? Like, I'm sorry. Whatever it is. Right. Dak's brother gets on. He's like, dude, I don't want him to be a Cowboy anymore than y'all. But he's committed.
Needs to request a trade. He needs to get out of here. And then Micah Parsons' brother, Micah Parsons, chimes in. I can't wait because y'all are really clueless out here. The greatest crimes to this man is being done by his own organization. Y'all going to miss him when he's gone. Like, what is going on?
What is going on? What is going on in Dallas?
And then I go on ESPN today, and Jeff Saturday's gone there, and he's saying, if I'm Dak, I would request a trade to the Atlanta Falcons right now because no one appreciates me, and you have the weapons there. And I'm like, dude, this is terrible.
This is nuts.
This team has bigger news than most of the playoff teams going on right now that are still in it.
Dude, we're not even deep into the offseason. We're not in the offseason yet. And your team is already in shambles, bro. And you didn't even have a bad season. That's the thing. They're the number 2 seed. Like they had a good season, but man, the dumpster fire that is the Cowboys right now. Holy shnikes, bro.
It's hilarious.
When your star players' family members are tweeting and talking to each other, it's never a good thing.
It's going to be some awkward OTAs.
It really is. The NBA, Joel Embiid, who's been called in a pretty funny tweet, the Dak Prescott of the NBA, put down 70 the other night. I mean, that's pretty impressive. 70 is impressive.
On the anniversary of Kobe's 81-point game.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Let me just say, my favorite commercial of all time, regardless of what anybody says, will always be when Jalen's walking through the restaurant and like, Jalen. And he's like, oh, God. And you see Jalen Rose's like face just fall. The waiter comes over and he's like, yeah, I'll take a martini. Like, would you like an olive? Yeah, you know what? I'll have 81. Ooh. And they just stare at each other. He's like, I'm just kidding. It's an inside joke between us. Let's take one.
For all y'all that don't know, Jalen Rose was the one who was guarding Kobe in his 81-point game, for context.
And then talk smack. And then tried to trash him. It was like, come on, son.
Exactly, dude. But come on. Yeah, dude, Joel Embiid, I feel bad for that guy. Just, I don't know. Like, you shouldn't be put to Dak's level yet,
But it was a funny tweet.
It was a funny tweet, but it's just disrespectful too. Like that guy's like actual great. Like Dak's
and
not
he was
great.
injured. He was injured last year. Like some people were like,
He chokes. Joel Embiid does not choke. Like he just had bad teammates. And basketball is different than football. So we can get into that when the NBA playoffs come around, but that's just disrespectful.
it's just, I don't know what our takes will be, but I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, it's hilarious, but it's just
hopefully Joel can just stay healthy for a playoff run. I think that's where you start. Exactly. Just get healthy for that. Moving right along. Final piece before we make our picks. Australian Open still going on. Unfortunately, the boy Ben did go home. Bummer. But dude, we got to appreciate the greats of regardless of what sport it is, right? No matter what sport it is, we got to appreciate the greats. And Djokovic, he's did it again. He just keeps winning. It looks like he's on his way to another Australian final. I think he has one more match before he gets there, but he's absolutely balling. And now his heaviest competition in Alcaraz, the guy who's actually beat him recently, he's out. He lost.
Right.
So, the door's wide open for this guy. He already has the most Grand Slams. If those of you don't know, in the tennis world, you have a bunch of Opens and then you have your Grand Slams, right? The Australian, the French.
That's a surprise.
Right. The Australian, French, Wimbledon, and the US. Those are the big dogs. Those are the four that you want to win. This guy has won more Australians than anybody else. He's won Wimbledon's. He's won French. He's won on every court, every service, every Grand Slam. He's done it. And he's got 24 Grand Slams at this point. Like this guy, he's a dog. And it's time to just look. Roger Federer is one of the greats.
Yeah.
But at this point, I mean, the Joker's still going, right? Roger is retired. Rafa is trying to still come back from injury. I think the plans are to retire at the end of this year, Rafa Nadal. So shout out to the Joker. If he gets another one, I mean, that's at 25. Rafa's at 22 and Roger's at 20. You have to imagine the way the Joker's playing. He's going to get to 25 this season at least. He's got at least one in him. He's playing great. So, shout out to him. Kudos, man. Yeah, fun to watch.
MLB news, one thing, big signing. Josh Hader. He went to the Astros.
Huge.
5-year, $95 million deal.
Wow.
For our closer. So good for him for making his money. But
did he finish well with he started rough with the Padres.
Last year he was great. He was like a top closer. Like his ERA was like in the ones. So he was a great closer last year.
Great.
So I'll say that. I know I was calling for the Dodgers to get him like when he was on the Brewers. But that's a big.
It made it also
to a closer.
It also made the most sense because we were his kryptonite. So like if you give him to us, his kryptonite is gone because now he's on the team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's a big deal. That's a
huge deal.
We're talking about the Dodgers, but the Astros,
they're trying to make a push. They're trying to solidify, especially Dusty Baker's gone. So they don't have their rock anymore. One of the greatest managers of all time. Shout out to Dusty Baker. Exactly. He's gone now, so they got to solidify. They got some great pieces, and it's definitely not Altuve. They got some really good pieces over there, some really great young pieces. So, keep going. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, that's huge news. They're making moves, unlike the Padres, who just seem to be losing pieces. Always got to take my shot. They're already selling. The season hadn't even started.
I know.
Oh,
sad,
boy.
Sad.
Could be worse. It could be the Giants signing relief pitchers for like way too much money because you're going to convert them. But regardless, we're not getting into that. Baseball season is just around the corner. Time to make our picks. So Big Z is only up by 2. I gained 1 game on him. Yes, I did it. I did it. So
I'm foolish. I'm wrong. I was foolish and wrong.
He got the Lions right over me. But I got the Ravens and the Chiefs. So boom. Yep. I got 1. So I need to find some wins. So Big Z, let's do it. Let's make our picks. Sunday, first game. I think it's Chiefs. I think the first game, Chiefs, Ravens.
Yes, it is.
Big Z, who you want to go first? Because you won. You're still in the lead.
I'm going Chiefs.
Big Z is going Chiefs. I'm going Ravens. I'm going Ravens. I got to at least get 1 game on you. I think as great as Patrick Mahomes is, Lamar Jackson is going to get it done. I mean, it's so hard, unfortunately, to pick against Patrick Mahomes. Like it's so hard because he is that guy. But I do think the Ravens get it done. I think Lamar Jackson is playing well. So I'm going to take the Ravens. I think they get it done. And the second game, the over-under for that game, just so we can give people an idea, because that stuff matters.
Idea.
See if it's going to be close or not. So as of right now, again, we're filming this on a Wednesday night, so these lines could move. But Baltimore is favored -3.5, and the over/under is 44.5. So
okay.
Not a crazy high scoring game. They're expecting a bit of a defensive battle. I think the issue is that the Ravens have a good defense, the Chiefs have a good defense, but
Whoa.
Are
you saying Lamar's better than Patrick?
No, not at all. Yeah, right. You say
Just
Brock
kidding,
Purdy? I was surprised you didn't go the other way. Oh, you say Brock Purdy belongs with these guys? No, just relax. But I'm saying they're both good teams.
They're great teams. Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
I mean, they're great teams, and I think they're both mobile. I think Lamar is a little bit more mobile, and I think it's going to really help him. And I also think this is sort of a legacy game for Lamar, right? Like I think this is a huge game for like Patrick. If Patrick loses the game, I think the pressure is sort of off. I know it doesn't. I know
it's been off.
The pressure is always off, but right. Like if he went into Buffalo and lost, everyone would have been like, "Oh, he made it a game." The only reason it was a game was because of Patrick Mahomes. The fact that again he's in an AFC Championship with this team with receivers who like led the league in drops or were tops, one of the top teams in drops.
That's how great Patrick is, though.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I just think the Ravens are going to get it done. Harbaugh is coaching on another level, so I got the Ravens. You got the Chiefs, Lions, and Niners. I would love to get another game on you. I would love to do that. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, dude. We're both going Niners.
Both going Niners.
Obviously, it doesn't even need to be guessed.
It's easy. It's an easy pick for me.
Well, they're favored by 7.
Yeah, so I'm going 31-13 Niners. That's my score. If you like, since we're both going Niners, we could talk about our scores. I just think that Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Hargrave, and Armstead, like they work off that rust from being off for 3 weeks, and they just get to Goff and they sack him 5 times. Like
you saw it. You saw it against Green Bay. You saw it against Green Bay.
Exactly.
They were almost like in the start. Jordan Love was like hitting open dudes, and it was really close. It's like, oh my God, Green Bay's gonna win. And as the third and the fourth quarter you started to get, you just saw their legs getting back under them.
Yeah.
You saw the speed and the quickness, sort of like the Ravens. At the start of the game, you thought, oh, this is a really great defensive matchup. Both these defenses are good. By the end, the Ravens defense looked so untouchable. To the Texans, it wasn't even funny. And by the end, I thought very similar to where, you got Jordan Love. Everybody's wondering, like, what's going on with Jordan Love? Why would he try that throw? Because he had to. Yeah. Nothing was working. None of the stuff he was doing was working. So, you know what, dude? I'm just going to huck this and hope for the best. Like, that's where I'm at. I can't get around this defense. I'm pretty similar. You know what? I think the Lions get 2 touchdowns. I really do. Yeah. I think they'll score early. I just think towards the end of the game, it's going to be too much. I'll give you like, I don't know, man. I don't see. Look, I like the Lions defense. I like what they're doing. I like Aiden Hutchins. I like their pieces. I just don't see them creating the same problems. I mean, we saw Green Bay dominate Dallas. So they came in hot. Like anybody trying to discredit the Green Bay team, I thought they were a massive threat to the Niners. Honestly, I think they were a bigger threat to the Niners than the Lions. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm with you. I got like 35-14. Somewhere in that window. Yeah. Maybe they stop them once, maybe 28-14, but I don't see this. I think the other game is probably the game to watch. I don't know what Debo's status is, but if he's healthy, I mean, even more so, I think it's done. But, I think the Niners are going to win this game. Again, do not take that to bet on it. And if you're a Lions fan, hey, we don't mind if you win. Again, this is an opportunity for Jared Goff. Huge opportunity.
I mean, I'd mind it, but
you'd mind it.
But in 2 weeks and come time Super Bowl, like I'd be rooting for the Lions. Like, oh yeah, good story. But I'd mind it the whole week.
That's fair.
I'd be pretty sad.
I'd mind it the whole week. This has been fun. Big Z. This is a good episode. Let's say bye to the people, man.
People. Just want to say congratulations to new Hall of Famers in the MLB. Yep. Todd Helton, Adrian Beltre, and Joe Mauer.
There we go.
Good for them. Congratulations to them, because we are an all sports podcast. And we talk about MLB too, and we'll be talking about them more. But that's a huge accomplishment to be voted into the MLB Hall of Fame.
Huge.
So good for them. And former Dodger Adrian Beltre, let's go. Dodgers should have kept him. But goodbye, people. Have a great week. NFL is ending soon. And so just cherish these 2 games because there's only 3 games left this whole season. And the Pro Bowl doesn't count. So, because it's flag football.
Yep.
Nothing against flag football, but it just doesn't count as a real game. So there's only 3 games left. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you.
I am semi excited for spring football now with the XFL and USA or whatever it was joining. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll probably turn it to but it's baseball season. I'm gonna be watching baseball.
It's baseball and March Madness, then baseball, and then
it's busy. It's busy.
NBA
but this
playoffs, NHL playoffs. Your Kings gonna make
March Madness.
They just lost, dude. They lost again tonight. This is the Sabres, bro.
Oh, we are free falling.
They've lost 12 of their last 14 games. It's bad, bro.
We're not doing great right now. We lost whatever spark we have, but that's hockey. You all have a great night. Tune in next week. We will be here with another episode. We'll be getting you ready for the Super Bowl. We'll have 2 episodes on that, but we'll also be talking about all the other sports going on. Do not worry. We are not going anywhere. And then once the NFL ends, we're going to be right here. We're going to get you ready for baseball season. We're going to keep you going in hockey season. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into the NBA and March Madness. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're an all sports podcast. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends. Keep listening.